Let's talk about something that can make your heart skip a beat. Getting an official tax notice from HMRC. What is it? What on earth does it mean? And most importantly, what do you need to do next? Well, you're in the right place. We're about to walk through a complete guide developed by the experts over at the top UK accounting firm, My Tax Accountant. So let's get into it.
You know the feeling, right? That thud of the letterbox, and there it is, that dreaded brown envelope with the official crest sitting on your doormat. Your stomach just sinks. Is it a bill? Are they investigating you? The panic is real, and it's a feeling shared by taxpayers all across the UK. But hold on. The first step isn't to panic, it's to understand exactly what you're looking at.
And that's exactly what this guide from My Tax Accountant is all about. It's designed to take that feeling of anxiety and turn it into clear, confident action by breaking everything down step by step. So, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to figure out if the letter is even genuine. Then, we'll get into decoding the most common types of notices you might get. We'll cover those all-important deadlines, look at your options for what to do next, and, crucially, what happens if you do nothing. And finally, we'll talk about the expert solution. Right, first things first. Before you even think about what the letter says, you have to be 100% certain it's actually from HM Revenue and Customs. Scams are getting incredibly sophisticated these days, and honestly, reacting to a fake letter can cause just as much trouble as ignoring a real one.
This really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It captures the problem perfectly. That initial worry is totally normal, but now it's a two-part problem. What does the letter say, and is it even real? So let's arm you with the tools to tell the difference.
You know, the differences are pretty stark when you know what to look for. A real letter from HMRC is personal to you. It'll have your unique tax reference number right there. Scams, on the other hand, often use vague greetings and try to scare you with urgent, threatening language. And here's a huge pro tip. HMRC will never, ever ask you to pay a tax bill with gift cards or crypto. If you see that, it's a scam. Full stop.
And take a really close look at the logo itself. Scammers often just grab a low-quality image off the internet, so it might look blurry or a bit off. A genuine letter will have a crisp, perfectly printed logo. If you're in any doubt, just pull up the official gov.uk website on your phone and compare them side by side. It takes 10 seconds and could save you a massive headache.
Now listen up, because this is probably the single most important tip for spotting scams. If a letter feels suspicious, whatever you do, do not use the phone number or website printed on it. Those will take you straight to the scammers. Instead, always go directly to the official gov.uk website to find the real contact details for HMRC. It's the safest thing you can do.
Okay, so you've done your checks, the letter is real. Phew. The next step is figuring out what it's actually trying to tell you. And believe it or not all letters from HMRC are bad news. Many of them are just routine admin. Let's decode the three you're most likely to see. First up, the P2 coding notice. This one causes a lot of needless worry. It's simply HMRC's way of explaining how they've calculated your tax code for the next tax year, say for 2025 to 2026. For example, imagine Chloe, a freelancer in London, has a better year than expected. HMRC might adjust her tax code for next year, and the P2 just explains why. Crucially, and I'll say it again, it is not a bill. It's just for your information. Now this one is different. If you get a P800 or a simple assessment, this is when HMRC thinks your tax calculation for a previous year was wrong. This is the letter that will tell you if you've underpaid tax and owe them some money, or, fingers crossed, if you've overpaid and you're actually due a refund. It will have a clear figure, and it's so important that you check their maths carefully. The third type, a Schedule 36 information notice, is a bit more serious. This is a formal legal request for documents and information. But did you know, HMRC can't just send these out for fun or go on a random fishing expedition. They have to have a good reason to ask for the information, maybe because there's a mismatch in the data they have. Responding to this one correctly is absolutely vital. Right, so once you understand what the notice is about, the next thing you need to lock onto is time. With anything from HMRC, deadlines are not just friendly suggestions, they are hard and fast rules. Acting quickly is probably the single most important thing you can do. So, what's the magic number? It's 30. For most decisions, penalties, or assessments that you disagree with, you have just 30 days from the date on that letter to file an appeal. Missing that window can seriously damage your case. It's not impossible to get a late appeal accepted, but it's very rare. So please don't take that risk. So, what should you do the moment that letter arrives? Simple. 1. Open it. Don't leave it on the side to deal with later. 2.
Find the date the letter was issued. That's when your 30-day clock starts ticking. 3. Before you do anything else, get some professional advice. And 4. Make sure your response, whatever it is, gets in before that deadline. Ignoring it is just not an option.
Okay, you understand the notice, you're aware of your deadline, now what? Well, you have choices. It's not always a simple case of having to pay up. You can comply, you can try to negotiate, or you can formally challenge HMRC's decision. Let's have a quick look at what each of those paths looks like. You've essentially got two main routes. The first path is to comply. That could mean just paying the amount in full. Or if you can't manage that in one go, you can contact HMRC to negotiate a payment plan, which is called a time-to-pay arrangement. The second path is to challenge them because you think they've got it wrong. That process starts with an internal review and can even go all the way to an independent tax tribunal. Now, it's really important to know you have to follow the formal process here. You can't just jump straight to court. The first mandatory step is to request an internal review. That's where a different officer at HMRC looks at your case from a fresh perspective. Only after you get their final decision can you then take your appeal to the first-tier tribunal, which is a body that's completely independent from HMRC. Stay with me. The next point might surprise you. It's about what happens when you do nothing at all.
This is the question that keeps people up at night, isn't it? What if I just bury my head in the sand and hope it all goes away? Well, let me be crystal clear. It won't. Ignoring an HMRC notice kicks off an escalation process that can have really severe consequences for you and your business.
This timeline shows just how fast things can get serious. It starts with the unpaid bill. After about 30 days, penalties and interest start getting added on, so the debt just gets bigger. If you continue to ignore it, HMRC can issue a notice of enforcement. That's a formal 7-day warning. And after that, an enforcement agent, or bailiff, has the legal right to visit your premises and seize your assets.
So when that enforcement agent visits, they'll draw up something called a controlled goods agreement. This is basically a list, an inventory of your business assets, things like vehicles, equipment, stock, that they've identified to cover the debt. You're then usually given another 7 days to pay up. If you don't, they can come back, take those items, and sell them at auction. That's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. They assume it'll never get to this stage, but it can, and it does.
Okay, we have covered some pretty serious ground here, from scams all the way to seizures. But the biggest takeaway from all of this should not be fear. It should be an understanding of how important it is to take swift, smart, informed action. And the absolute best way to do that is with professional help.
I think this quote from the guide sums it all up perfectly. A tax notice feels like a disaster, but it's actually a process, a manageable process. You have rights, you have options, and most importantly, you do not have to, and really you shouldn't, try to figure it all out on your own. And that leads me to a really vital point. Everything we've talked about today is for general guidance. Your personal situation is unique, it's got its own specific details. That's why it is absolutely essential that you don't rely only on this information. Before you make any financial decisions, you must consult a professional tax expert, like the team at My Tax Accountant, who can give you advice tailored specifically to you.
So, if you've received a notice or you're just worried about any tax issue at all, the experts at My Tax Accountant are there to help. You can call them on 0208-570-8531 or drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. For more detailed read on this topic, check out their blog post. We've put the link on screen. And for more helpful guides just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
And we'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. Is your tax affair in order? Because really, a brown envelope from HMRC shouldn't be the first time you think about it. Being proactive with your finances is the best way to make sure that when a letter does land on your doormat, it's expected, it's understood, and it is completely manageable. Thanks for watching.